Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're well out there. Welcome to Tundra Dude 34 today. A very important video. It has been 2 years since I purchased this gorgeous, beautiful, awesome 2020 TRD Pro Tundra. I couldn't be happier. Today, we're gonna go over some of the likes and dislikes over the last couple of years of ownership of this truck, why I got the truck to begin with, all that stuff, some of the upgrades we've done. So let's get started. It is all very simple. Catch you all up if you're new to the channel. Before this truck, I owned a 2017 Platinum that we did something called the Platinum Pro Project on very early on in the channel. And that basically was to take a Toyota Tundra Platinum trim and turn it into a TRD Pro. The reason we did that is back in the old 15 to 17 Pro days, it was built off of an SR5 platform, so there wasn't any luxury features. So my goal was to build a Tundra, or a TRD Pro Tundra, and show you what it would look like if it had luxury features. Now, years later, like the one we're in now, they started to put things like the moonroof, heated seats. They started to add some of those luxury features, so it was a fun little project, but we moved on. We added a supercharger to that 2017 Platinum. It was a great truck to drive. So my fear was, going from that 2017 to this, is I wouldn't be happy. That was my biggest issue. The reason I bought this truck was because the 2022 Tundra was coming, but I wanted to have something. I used to call this the gap truck. I wanted to have something between that supercharged 2017 and the 2022. I wanted to get back into something naturally aspirated 5.7 V8 engine, to have something a little bit closer to what the viewers were having. You know, as a channel owner, I must say owning a supercharged Tundra is awesome, but there's not a lot of people out there that have a supercharged Tundra. So I wanted to have something you guys had. And also in 2018, they came out with Toyota Safety Sense. In 2020, we got the push button start, the new Entune, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto enabled, bigger screen. There was, you know, the Toyota connected app. There was things that came out since 2017 that made sense as a channel to get this truck. So anyway, I paid just about $56,000 for this truck. That was the sticker price. It was an MSRP purchase. So think of that real quick. This truck was just under $56,000, and the new Tundra TRD Pro that's coming out is going to be around $68,000. So the prices have definitely gone way up. With this truck, as far as what I've done to it, being it was a truck I planned to have for a short amount of time, I didn't do a lot of upgrades to it. I did the bare essentials, but things that are must-have in my opinion. I did the grab handle, which hopefully in one of these camera shots you can see. I added the driver's side grab handle. That's a must-have for sure. Real quick, let's get that TRD dual exhaust going. You can't be mad about this. It just sounds so good. It just sounds so good, and it doesn't get old. So that can segue into the other thing I added. I added a TRD cold air intake, which, you know, you can't really have crazy expectations. The thing looks good under the hood. If you're someone that goes to car shows and you pop the hood or something like that, it looks awesome. Big TRD logo and everything. Gives a little more noise in the engine bay. Maybe helps with throttle response a little bit, but it really complements that TRD dual exhaust. So I always like to get the TRD cold air intake for sure. So we did that. We did the grab handle. We did, and I strongly recommend, the Husky X-Act Contour floor liners. I've had those in my last few Tundras. I will always have Husky floor liners. They are the best, bar none. I am very, very happy with those. So if you're in the market, check them out. Husky floor liners. Once again, X-Act Contours. And the last thing we added to this truck here was the lockable box for the center console. Always a good thing to have, no matter what you do, for your, you know, your wallet, your keys. If you're someone that does fitness, or, you know, you don't want to carry your stuff with you when you're out doing something, the lockbox is the way to go. All of this stuff that I'm talking about is available on sparksparts.com, except the Husky floor liners. That's huskyliners.com. But that's pretty much all we've done to this truck as far as upgrades. It really doesn't need much. So let's talk about pros and cons. That's the best part of this stuff. Pros, I could sit here and tell you things forever. Cons, there's really not that many. So let's start with the cons. And it's two things we've talked about before, and a lot of you will agree with me on this, I think. Number one con, JBL sound system. It's not bad when the windows are up. The sound system is just fine, but the minute you put the windows down, one of the things I like to do is I like to open up the sunroof and open up that big back window. it starts to get to the point where you really have to turn it up to get that good music experience that you're gonna want. So that leaves a little bit to be desired. I will say I've driven a 2022 Tundra and test drove for a week, and the JBL sound system in that seems to be a lot better, so they did take care of that. That's a good thing. The other con I have is something we've talked about with the Pro since it's come out, and that is the tires that come on the Pro. We get the same Michelins that come on the TRD, at least in the 14 to 21s, please keep that in mind. We get the same Michelin tires that come on the TRD off-road come on the Pro. I think the Pro should have a unique tire, something a little bit more aggressive than what comes on it, but that's just my opinion, and that's something small. Other than that, I really, and I'm being completely honest with you, I don't have a lot of cons. I still, 2 years plus later, it's like 2 years and 2 weeks since I bought this thing, I still get in this truck and I'm excited to drive it. Absolutely. Let me just go back for a minute and tell you, when I came from the Supercharged 2017, like I said, I thought I really wasn't going to like this truck because I'm going from this high horsepower, awesome build that I had into a 5.7 naturally aspirated V8 once again. I thought I was going to be a little bit disappointed getting out of that supercharger and going back to normal, but no, absolutely not the case at all. This Tundra, this 2020, is the most responsive 5.7 V8 Tundra I've ever had. The Platinum that I had before I supercharged it, I always felt like it almost had a little bit of a sluggish feel to it. I had a 2016, it wasn't bad. Sometimes the gears would hunt with the 6-speed transmission. This truck is just, it feels like a completely different truck. And the driving experience is amazing. The 6-speed transmission with the 5.7 work flawlessly together to get down the road. It always feels like it has a little pep in its step. It doesn't feel sluggish at all, no matter what the weather conditions or anything like that. The truck is just an absolute pleasure to drive. The Fox suspension in this TRD Pro, and I'm coming from an older TRD Pro that had the Bilstein suspension, I thought it would be pretty much the same thing. This suspension, way better in my opinion. The whole truck just felt a little bit different, and it kind of shocked me. I've made videos, you know, for years, for the 2 years that I've owned this. I know I made a video, I don't remember what it's called, but early on in the 2020 TRD Pro, when I first got it, it was just about how responsive the 5.7 is. It was just like a completely different driving experience. I do have a playlist for the 2020 TRD Pro. I'll put that up at the end of the video if you want to check out all the videos I've made specifically on this truck. But overall, just an insane driving experience. It feels like it doesn't have a lot of body sway like some of my other Tundras. It's just a total package of a good drive. You know, drive this thing to the mountains, to the lake in Pennsylvania, about a 3.5 hour drive each way, up into the mountains, down into the mountains. Some other Tundras I've had, that's where the gearing would get lost in what gear to be in, as far as when you're going up into the mountains. This thing is just always feeling like it's ready to go. So the number one thing that should always be, you know, mentioned when you talk about a vehicle is if you're happy with the driving experience, right? Because if you got to drive the thing every day, features are great and everything, but just the overall drive is amazing. So when I'm going normal speed like this and I want to put my foot on the pedal, it just kicks on, man. I'm telling you, this thing is amazing. I'm a huge fan of the driving experience. That's the biggest win. Number two, I didn't think I would like the army green aspect as much as I do. I got this truck because army green was the special color for 2020. I had an option at that truck, so I was really happy to get an option at the special color. I've never had a special color Tundra. We've had the Inferno, you know, 2015 was Inferno, 2016, we had all the colors going through. 2017 was cement. 2016 had, I'm sorry about that, had mag gray, quicksand in 2016. 2018 there was no special color on the Tundra, so it was cool to be able to get my hands on a special color TRD Pro for that year. Like I said, this was the Gap truck, so it really didn't matter much as far as, I thought I would have it for a really short amount of time. I didn't realize the 2022, during the launch with all the stuff going on with chip shortage and COVID and all that, would take so long. This truck was purchased before the COVID situation and all of that, where the factory shut down. This truck, you know, I've had for before all that stuff started. So I plan to have this for probably a year, maybe a year and a half, and we're over 2 years now, and I'm not mad about it, like I said, at all. So really, like I said, there's no cons. I guess if I had to talk about a con, if I was like really sitting there and trying to dig down deep, in coming from the Platinum to this Tundra, This is the Softex leather, and the Platinum has the perforated, heated, cooled seats leather, and that was a little bit more comfortable, a little bit of a softer leather. This is more of a rugged, kind of stiff leather. Now, after a long drive, these seats can get a little bit uncomfortable. Nothing to write home about, just after a while you're kind of moving around a little bit trying to find the comfort in it, but that's, you know, not one of my top cons. I wouldn't even put it in the con list. I just wanted to mention that. But in the same breath, let me say that if you spill on these seats, no problem whatsoever getting anything up that you spill on it, because it's not perforated. With the perforated leather, you know, sometimes you would get little pieces of stuff caught in the perforations, in the little holes and things like that, and they could be a pain to clean up. So these ones are easier to clean up. The leather, like I said, is a little bit stiffer, but at the end of the day, you know, it really depends on your wants and needs. The perforated leather, softer, a little bit more comfortable, but it is what it is. It's pretty much the same seat with a different cover on it, and that's what it comes down to. This is heated seats only. The Platinum had heated cooled, or heated ventilated, we should say. I don't really use the cooled seats as much as I probably could or should. The heated seats I use quite often in this. Always makes my lower back feel better, so I like to rock that. Being I was coming from a 2017 into a 2020, I was able to get the new gauge cluster for 2018, and I had the digital speedometer, I had the tire pressures at each tire, like individual tire pressures, which was awesome. There were small little things they did to this truck to upgrade it to the point where I feel like it is very, very current with the rest of the half tons out there. Now, I know we've gone to next generation. I'm just speaking in the owner of last generation. And one thing I really want to point out about this truck that I absolutely love, what is the #1 thing I love about this truck after 2 years, and I don't think it'll ever change? I love how plain it is. I know that sounds weird because it's a TRD Pro, but you know what? If you look at like the Ram Rebel to me is very loud. You know, it has a lot of stuff going on the outside of the body that says Ram Rebel. The Raptor is very loud. This, all it has, it's a regular Tundra. It has a Toyota Heritage grille. It has TRD Pro stamped into the bed, same color as the body. So it doesn't scream anything crazy. You get that, you know, a little bit extra of a suspension. You get that leveled look. Everything is body color and blacked out, and that's it. It doesn't scream TRD Pro. I love that about the truck. It still keeps it to a normal looking truck, not too loud, not too crazy. I mean, obviously Army Green, this isn't the bright color, but there's Voodoo Blue out there. There's some colors, you know, Inferno's bright, the new Solar Octane's bright. But just talking about the overall presentation of the TRD Pro, it's not an insane look in the way of something that's just out there screaming with features and, you know, different kinds of hoods. This has the non-functional hood scoop, but it gives it a good look in the front, but it's nothing too crazy and aggressive. It just, you know, it just has a really nice look, and that's my favorite part of the Tundra. So I thank you guys for watching, and that is my update on 2 years ownership of this gorgeous 2020 Army Green TRD Pro. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook at TundraDude34, TundraDude34@gmail.com. You guys have a great day. Be safe and be well.